On June 1, 2009, Air France Flight 447, an Airbus A330-203, took off from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, en route to Paris, France, carrying 216 passengers and 12 crew members from 32 nationalities. The aircraft, registered as FGZCP, was a modern twin-engine jet with advanced fly-by-wire technology, known for its reliability and safety. The flight crew included Captain Marc Dubois, with 10,988 flying hours, First Officer David Robert, with 6,547 hours, and First Officer Pierre-Cedric Bonin, with 2,828 hours, who was still in his probationary period on the A330. Air France, one of the world's oldest airlines, had a strong safety record, but this flight would become its deadliest accident. 3 hours and 40 minutes into the flight, at 2:02 Universal Time Coordinated, Captain Dubois left the cockpit for a rest, leaving Bonin as the pilot flying and Robert as the pilot monitoring. The aircraft was cruising at 35,000 feet through the Intertropical Convergence Zone, ITCZ, a region near the equator known for intense thunderstorms and turbulence due to converging trade winds. A meteorological analysis showed a mesoscale convective system with clouds extending to 50,000 feet, conditions typical for the area but challenging for aviation. The crew was using onboard weather radar to navigate around significant turbulence, a routine task for transatlantic flights. At 2:10 and 5 seconds Universal Time Coordinated, the aircraft encountered icing conditions, and ice crystals likely clogged its pitot tubes, critical sensors for measuring airspeed. This caused inconsistent airspeed readings, triggering the autopilot to disconnect and the flight control system to switch to alternate Law 2, reducing some automated protections. Bonin, at the controls, reacted by pulling back on the side stick, causing the aircraft to climb rapidly to 38,000 feet. This increased the angle of attack to 16 degrees, then 30 degrees, leading to an aerodynamic stall. The stall warning sounded for 54 seconds, but the crew did not recognize the situation. Bonin exclaimed, "I've got the controls," while Robert noted, "We've lost the speeds." The cockpit voice recorder captured their confusion, with Bonin later saying, "I don't have control of the plane at all." Captain Dubois returned at 2:11 and 40 seconds Universal Time Coordinated, but the aircraft was already in a steep dive, descending at 10,912 feet per minute. At 2:14 and 28 seconds Universal Time Coordinated, the plane impacted the Atlantic Ocean at 152 knots, intact, with a 16.2-degree nose-up pitch, killing all 228 on board. The search for the wreckage was one of the most complex in aviation history, conducted in a remote area 600 miles off Brazil's coast in waters 3,900 meters deep. The Brazilian Navy recovered initial debris and 50 bodies within days, but the main wreckage and flight recorders remained missing. A 2-year, 5-phase search costing over €30 million culminated in April 2011, when a team led by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution located the wreckage using autonomous underwater vehicles. The flight data recorder was recovered on May 1, 2011, and the cockpit voice recorder on May 2, 2011, providing critical data for the investigation. The French Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation Safety, BEA, released its final report on July 5, 2012. It concluded that pilot error was the primary cause, as the crew failed to recognize the stall and applied incorrect nose-up inputs. Contributing factors included inadequate training for high-altitude manual flying, the Airbus side-stick design allowing conflicting inputs without visual or tactile feedback, and possible pilot fatigue, as Dubois mentioned not having slept enough. The intermittent stall warning, which stopped when airspeed fell below 60 knots, may have further confused the crew. The BEA noted that the pitot tubes, a Thales model prone to icing, had not been replaced despite known issues, though Air France had begun upgrading them. The crash sparked debate about automation in aviation. The Airbus A330's fly-by-wire system, designed to enhance safety, relies on computers to interpret pilot inputs, but in this case, unreliable airspeed data disabled key protections. Studies, such as one from the Harvard Business Review, suggest that over-reliance on automation can erode pilots' basic flying skills, contributing to loss of control incidents, which account for 43% of commercial aviation fatalities. The BEA recommended mandatory angle of attack indicators and improved training for stall recovery. In response, Air France and other airlines enhanced pilot training to focus on manual flying and stall recovery. Airbus updated its flight control software to improve feedback and reduce conflicting inputs. By June 2009, Air France completed replacing older pitot tubes with models less susceptible to icing, as mandated by EASA and FAA directives. In 2022, Air France and Airbus faced trial for involuntary manslaughter, but a French court acquitted both on April 17, 2023, attributing the crash primarily to pilot error. Victims' families, represented by figures like Philippe Linguet, argued that systemic issues, including delayed pitot tube replacements and training gaps, were underaddressed, fueling ongoing controversy. The crash has been extensively documented in works like PBS Novus, Crash of Flight 447, and William Langewies's The Human Factor, in Vanity Fair, which highlight the human errors and systemic factors involved. Books such as Understanding Air France 447, by Bill Palmer also explore the technical and human elements. The tragedy remains a pivotal case study, emphasizing the need for balanced reliance on automation and robust pilot training. It underscores that even advanced technology cannot replace human judgment in critical situations. The legacy of Flight 447 continues to shape aviation safety. Lessons learned have led to safer training protocols and aircraft designs, ensuring that the sacrifices of those lost are not forgotten. The incident serves as a reminder that aviation safety requires constant vigilance, blending cutting-edge technology with well-honed human skills to prevent future tragedies.